work with LAUSD, right? But then, because for a while, because I did not get the vaccine, we were banned from campus. But then, we were able to keep our jobs by working online.
You're still working online, aren't you?
I'm still working online, but this year they're forcing us to go back on campus
Well,
and work online.
Oh, and work online?
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense because our students are at home, and so that's why.
And they don't want to come to school still?
A lot of them are. Unfortunately, I deal with the SPED population. A lot of them, they cannot come back because of their. In my opinion, they might have had adverse reactions with the vaccines and all the medicine they're taking because they're special ed.
In addition to that.
Yeah. So that's why people didn't realize this, but the special ed population in LAUSD, they never had to take the vaccine. It was buried under a pile of paperwork. And that's because a lot of our students, they're already taking all these other medicines and they don't want the interaction. But a lot of them did take the vaccine in my opinion.
Because their parents were scared.
Yes.
You know, and that's what happens, you know, when you use fear as a tactic to get people to comply. I mean, that's very well known. I mean, isn't that what the Nazis did? I mean, that's the primary ingredient of a propaganda campaign is to make people scared.
Yes. If you look at all these public policy, right? On one hand, they say, okay, for everybody's safety, right? We all care about safety on this one side, and the other side is their policy. Vaccine mandates or something to that effect. You notice how they're using it's called actually military information systems or propaganda. They issue implication, and they leave it to the audience's minds to make the theory. And if you have a theory or hypothesis, you need evidence. And because the authorities, they don't have that, they make an implication, right? Implication, it's all about your safety. And then in the audience's mind, the theory or the hypothesis must be a killer virus. We're living in the midst of a killer virus, and if we don't do something, we don't take a vaccine, we're gonna die, right? But then there's a lack of evidence for that.
Right,
That's why,
exactly.
But everybody assume it because the government is making this implication. But a very few people like us, hey, we demand to look at the research, look at the evidence, and 3-4 years ago, there was a lack of it. That's why I wrote my letter to the union, to the school board, and we're redeemed.
Exactly.
We're redeemed from the courts. And a really good court case came out from Oakland. People who work for BART, the transportation system, there were several of them who refused to get the shots. They refused to settle in their court case, and they received $1 million each.
Wow.
So they won. So for LAUSD, a lot of my colleagues who refused to get the shots, if you're looking at a lot of the classified employees who were fired, LAUSD fired the classified. They didn't fire the certificated teachers because we had a chance to work online. But I think there's about 500. Well, they fired 1,500, and about 500 with the lawsuit, mass tort lawsuit with attorney Jim Watkins and Jennifer Kennedy. And I believe hopefully they don't settle, and hopefully they win a good amount from LAUSD. So that's coming hopefully in the next year or maybe this year, later on this year. So.
We talk a lot in Center for Political Innovation, not even just our LA group, but in the online group, which is everybody around the world, mostly in the US and mostly right now are on the East Coast side, Chicago, Minneapolis, New York, Washington, DC. That's where most people are right now that are organizing, and then we're becoming kind of the new central focus, so here on the West Coast. So, and we're gonna prop up Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard as much as possible and support them, because they are definitely on the right track as far as there's some disagreements, of course, when it comes to Israel primarily, but there's a lot of agreement also otherwise. I think Jimmy Dore made a really good point when he talked about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're not like, he's not Secretary of State, so it doesn't, at this point, even though we disagree with him on his Israel position, that's not his position in government. His position in government is Health and Human Services. So for right now, we have to focus on Health and Human Services, not on his position on Palestine and Israel. So because things are going to unfold there anyway, and they are unfolding as we speak, right? So we just have to pay attention to the facts as much as possible, right, Ishmael? And just kind of take one thing at a time and be focused on the issues, right? And what we can do together, not how we can be separated by wedge issues. And even with this issue, I think, you know, CPI would definitely be on board learning more about, you know, what we went through in recent history.
Oh yeah.
You know, from those of us that went through it and experienced a lot of things here in LA, you know, we have a lot to bring to the table as far as the conversation and the information, you know. And of course, Roshan and I
Roshan.
I'm sorry, Roshan. We worked together during the Bernie Sanders campaign. That's how we met. And Joey was part of Natural Health First and the Medical Freedom, and then Manny, we met, I think, probably through Adam's group, right? The People's Rights Group, which is
Or Anthony's, right?
or Anthony. It was
Healthy and Free,
Anthony's, yeah, Healthy and Free back then, yeah. And then Ishmael and I, of course, Ishmael's, you know, local with CPI, and so I just got the idea. Hey, we got some people here in LA. We should start something, and so it's all about building coalitions and education and creating movement. You know, because we need whether we like it or not, we do need a government that stands for the working class, for the working people, and it just shouldn't be the government that's in power now. You know, we need a different way of looking at what is that government? What does it look like? What does it consist of? Because the current one is not working for the vast majority of people, and we have a golden opportunity right now, you know, to try to have a voice, so we have a say in whatever that next government's going to be. Would you guys agree?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.